So what we're going to do is we're going to solve, this is not your notes, this is going to be just visualizations of how to solve one-step equations. You can use your whiteboard to set this up. I'll do the first one for you maybe. I'm going to say, you guys all know what this answer is.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be 6. But, can I make equations with fractions and decimals harder? Yes. So what I'm going to use with easier numbers is the process to solve equations. Right now it's one-step equation. In the near future, it's going to be two-step equations, and then there might be even harder ones after that. But let's learn to walk before we run. The visualization of this is x, which we don't know. So I'm going to use this. This is our unknown, which is x, plus 3. So I'm gonna bring 3 of these over. X plus 3. Is the 3 and the x, are those like terms? Do they look the same? No, these are not like terms. They cannot be combined. This represents the left side. And then I have an equal sign. So I'm going to bring the equal sign over. Stop playing with stuff, please.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have 9. I don't know if we can have 9. I'm going to do this thing.
Infinite clone.
Yeah. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. I want to get x by itself. So what's the opposite of plus 3? The inverse. Yeah, -3. And I'm going to do both visually and algebraically here. So -3 on both sides, because what you do on one side you have to do on the other. 3 minus 3 equals 0. I zeroed it out. It's gone. So let's show you what that looks like here. -3 on this side. 1, 2, 3. -3 on this side. 1, 2, 3. And again, these all zeroed out. So what are we left with? Well, on the left, what are we left with? Allison?
X.
We're left with x equals, so I'm going to write that. X equals, what are we left with on the, let me put this back. What are we left with on the right side then? Jackson?
On the right side, you are left with just
Okay. Alright, Brandon?
6.
6. These all zeroed out. We're left with 6 of these. 1, 2. There's got to be a better way to grab these. 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so.
All together.
I tried. Alright, x equals 6. 1x equals 6. That's our answer visually. And this is how we're going to do our work when we do our notes, algebraically. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Somebody think they could come up? I'm going to get rid of this line. I think it just confuses people. Somebody want to try setting this up? 4 equals x minus 7. How would you set that up? You want to try, Alex?
Well.
You could actually go up there and drag it if you want. Those of you at your desk, if you want to write it on your whiteboards how you think it would look, feel free to.
Well, what you have to do is you have 7. And then, in order to get 4, you need to subtract something from 4. So to get that number, you'd have to add 4 to 7, which I do not have.
I think just train off one of the rails. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna set you up. Alright, ready? I want you just to set up what it visually looks like to have 4 and the equal sign next to it. Okay? I want 4 and the equal sign. So set up 4 and the equal sign in this space. Using the blocks, Alex.
Oh,
Two, three, four, equals. Good. But wait, there's more. Now, on the right side, I want you to set up what x minus 7 might look like. Here's an x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good job.
Nice job,
Good job, Alex.
Alex.
Good. Alright, so if you guys ever touch this right here can spin. So if you want to make it smaller, then I think we can move all these. Alright, there we go. Alright, so when you solve an equation, we got to get x by itself. Right now it's hanging out with all these red negatives. What's the inverse of minus 7 to get rid of it? What do you think, Adam? Positive 7. Yeah. So to solve this equation, algebraically we do plus 7 plus 7. Because what you do on one side, you have to do on the other. It's kind of like a seesaw. You want it to always stay balanced. Alright, so if I add 7 to both sides, let's do that. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh. Is that a curveball?
Brush you up with curry.
Do it again, you ready? No, you have to like throw it.
Yes. Alright, so what are we left with? What happened to all these ones? The plus ones, minus ones, it all zeroed out, right? So we got 0 here. So then we have x, drops down, equals. Does anything cancel out here, or do we just add on to what we already have?
Just add
Just more positive. So how much do we end up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. X equals 11. So this is what it visually would look like. Bless you. With this work. One more. Somebody want to try setting this one up?
I have my eraser.
What?
I have to erase my blackboard. I will not try to add some throw.
Put your hand up, Nick.
Oh no.
Did you go up already? Let's see if anybody else. I feel like you and Alex are gonna dominate all the volunteering. It's not,
They did last
it's not
year.
fair for all the
Who
others.
did Alex?
Yeah, Alex and
I didn't volunteer that much.
Yeah, last year you did, dude.
Alright, this.
That's because no one else would raise their hand.
Sorry. Sometimes I'll just call people randomly. Somebody thinks they could set up what this one looks like. 3x equals 9, kind of like what we did with the other two. Alright. Nick, go try if you want to. Wait, what's your, can I see, read your shirt? Bacon and rain? Oh my god, I love it. Do you know who would wear that? Mr. Bruni.
Yeah, Mr. Prudy would wear that.
He wears stuff like that all the time.
He wears an Oregon shirt, so.
Ooh. Real quick, while I was doing that, how many degrees did he rotate that to turn it like that?
90. Ben, take it all the credit. Never called on you, he never said dad.
Hit infinite clone. Hit tap one of the positive, and then hit the little arrow down looking thing. And one of those is going to say infinite clone. And then you can just drag it. It's going to keep duplicating from that spot. Shouldn't every math class have a smoreboard? Isn't this amazing?
There's a math class downstairs that's a smart board.
Huh?
It's like a fourth the size of this one.
Miss Smigalski?
Yeah. Throw it, Nick.
She's a fourth.
I know, I made her for home.
That was the smoreboard that was in this room originally.
No, you can't do it.
Oh my
I took it off the wall.
Throw it.
I put this one up, and then I gave it to the other master.
Oh my gosh, is this the one from your old
Save our
class?
smart board.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Wow,
what
you took it out of the whole board.
Alright, well here's a good discussion. Is what he set up 3x equals 9, or is what he set up 3 plus x equals 9?
I don't know.
Raise your hand if you have an opinion on that.
I don't like it because it's blue.
Allison.
Because he put, I think the 3 ones is like 3 and then it's right next to the X and there's no sign in between.
So visually it makes
Yeah.
sense.
I don't know.
So you think it's right?
I feel like this is a trick question.
It is, well,
My
it's
opinion.
just, what do you think, Alex?
I think it would be 3 times x because there's nothing in between except so when it says
Oh, so it's 3x, so 3 times x? You're right. So how would we visually show 3 times x? Nick?
3x.
3 times as many x's. So I'm gonna put these back, and I'm gonna bring these ones over. Okay. Now
It's upside down.
that's good enough. Alright, so now we have 3x equals 9. This is how it would be represented. Good job, Alex, for correcting that. What's the opposite of multiply by 3, the inverse, to cancel it out? Not to zero it out. This time you're going to 1 it out then. Divide by what? 3. Positive 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. Because when you do 3 divided by 3, it equals 1. Notice on these ones, I specifically put 0. But this time it's not zeroing out, it's 1ing out. So I show 1 by slashing. Alright, so we're going to be left with x equals 3. So how am I going to evenly divide these visually? I'm going to go like this. Here's an x, here's an x, here's an x. To divide, I'm just going to evenly group them. Here's 1, 2, 3 for you. 1, 2, 3 for you. Did I evenly distribute them on the x's? So how much does 1x equal? 1x equals 3. Yeah, you can shut the door.
I get that. Yeah. Even though I knew, even though
There's one more. There's dividing. I didn't put it up here, but the other class asked Mr. Garcia, how would you do that? I'll show you real quick what that would look like. Clone page. Yeah, hurry up. All right, I'm gonna change this problem, and I'm gonna do it for you. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 1/2 half of x equals, I'm gonna give me a small number like 5. We'll go 5. All right. So 1/2 of x equals 5. So this is going to be the inverse of kind of like dividing is going to be multiply. How am I going to show half of x? Well, I'm literally going to try to take half a picture of an x. Is that about halfway?
Yeah.
All right. So I have half of an x equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. If half an x equals 5, what do I do? What can I do to see what a full x equals? I know you know the answer, but like what math would prove it? Brandon? Times by 2. Yeah, you're gonna times by 2 on both sides. Let me write that. Times by 2. Times by 2. If you think about it, isn't 2 times a half going to equal 1. That's my one side. That's like a 1 sideways. So you have 1x equals 10. So if I was to clone this, I would have to do a full x.
Oh wow,
I can't do it.
It's upside
Come
down.
on,
That's
you
hard.
got this.
It's upside down. That's hard.
Not bad. All right, one. Then I would have to do another 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1x equals 10. That's what it would look like. All right. Get out your notebooks then. Oh, actually, you don't need them for this,
Yes.
but you will need them in a second. I mean, all right.
Alright, I'm gonna go.
You do not need to solve this. I just want you to write down on your boards, positive or negative. Is the solution to the following going to be positive or negative? I'm going to hold it up and I'll say yes or no. Is it a positive or negative number to make this? Let's watch. Is A positive or negative? That's all you got to write. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes.
Erase.
You get a erase after you're done. No, you can't say yes. Positive or negative? Yes.
I missed that.
The whole row is good, I think.
Oh no.
Did you do plus and minus on one side?
No, I'm gonna write that.
Good, Adam. Good. Alright, try this one. Is B going to be positive or negative to make this equation true? Don't solve it, just tell me, is it positive or negative? Good. No. Good. 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 No. No. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, it's easy. It's one answer or the other.
Finn, can you let her in, please?
Can I sit down?
Now it's right.
Can I sit down?
Hurry up. Once I start notes, I don't want to.
It's hard.
Exactly.
Obviously, the door has no name.
Alright, somebody want to explain why it was negative? Somebody I haven't heard from for a while? Brandon, yes.
Because if you get positive wrong, it has to be negative. What? Yeah, if you put positive on your board and get it wrong, it has to be negative.
Okay, a little more in depth, Maya.
Because negative times negative is a positive.
Yeah, the 8.7 is negative times another negative would have to give us positive. Good job. Alright, try this one. Is this C going to be positive or negative?
Is that a negative 1.4?
Yes, it's a negative 1.4. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. No. Yes, yes, no. Yes, yes, no.
Okay, I suck.
No. No.
Wait.
Yes. Yes, yes. I don't know. Is that a T for true or false? Yes. Somebody want to explain to me why this C has to be a positive? Yeah.
You start with 8.7 and then
You start
some
with
number.
negative 8.7. Good.
And then some number, and then you get to a number that's greater than 8.7.
Yeah.
So it has to be a positive.
So it has to be a positive because you think number line wise, isn't negative 8.7 kind of by negative 9? And we're shifting all the way over here to almost like negative 1.5. How are you going to move from here to here? You got to add some positive to it. Is that number going to be greater or less or? Never mind.
I was even thinking.
It's going to be positive. Try this one. Oh, Allison?
I have something to say.
Yeah.
My dad said that the sign in front of a number is going to determine whether it's a positive or a negative, if it's plus or minus, and the sign in front of the C is a plus.
Yeah, good things happen to that.
But no, that's only for multiplying. Only for adding and subtracting.
That might be the old way of math.
I'm dumb, so.
I can see the question.
I'm not. Just call me
Oh.
fat.
No, I mean like the question.
Oh, she was talking about C, right? me think about that. I'm not really 100% sure if that's always gonna work.
Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia. I
Yeah.
think you meant like FH.
Huh?
Everyone knows that. I thought it was PHAT. Well, we have Chinese. It's like PHAT.
I'm gonna wait on this one.
Nick's like,
Yeah,
that's very ingenious.
This is fun.
Did I get it wrong?
Literally, if you look around the room, literally half the people have positive and half the people have negative. Take a second and talk amongst yourselves about which one you think it is and why.
Because of the science.
Because if it was a positive,
But if you think about it,
It's like
please.
Wait, no, I don't get that one out. It's always possible. I just don't know what you're doing now.
Oh, wait,
I got back before no.
No, it isn't negative. It is right.
It's positive.
Wait, what are we doing?
Hold on. There needs to be more depth than just saying what your idea is louder than the other person.
It's
Why?
negative.
No, it's not. That's not what it's doing.
So you need negative 8.7 to go up. So what does D have to be in order to make that happen?
I don't know where it's negative.
So here, real quick, you negative 8.7 minus.
Because if it was positive, then it would be positive. Think of it as this way. You have a negative.
What would that
I know. I'm saying you're taking a negative.
It's like wrong.
It's like,
yeah.
actually, you had the
It'd be negative 9.
See that?
Go for negative. No, here's a positive. You didn't go the way you thought. What if one's gonna be recycled? Alright, raise your hand if your mind was changed. Mine was changed. Alright,
His mind was changed.
Abby, how was your mind changed? What did you decide on now?
I have A minus.
Good, it is gonna be negative. Why is it negative? Anybody wanna help her out, or do you still wanna try to explain? Did you volunteer a lot last year or no? Alright, Brandon.
Okay, so if you have a negative and you're taking a negative away from it, because if you look at the problem, you kind of know because if it's already a negative and you're already subtracting, then it has to be a negative because it's going down.
Well, I was telling Karina, I was like, well, what if she said it was positive? I was like, what happens if I put 1 here, right? What if I said it was a positive 1? And then we figured out that would be negative 9.7. Are we getting closer to what we needed to, or farther away? Farther away. So actually, it needs our variable needs to be a negative number, because if it's a negative number, let's just say negative 1, this is going to become plus plus, and then it would become negative 7.7. Are we now getting closer to where we needed to? Yeah, or at least moving in the same direction. Anybody know what number it should be? Ben?
So like the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Oh, it should be I think it's 7.3. Brandon said so. That's if it's wrong, I'm like.
No, you're right. Minus minus becomes plus plus, and then what would you be left with? You'd be left with negative 1.4.
Thank you, Brandon.
Alright, yeah, notebooks for this. You're going to title it Solving One-Step Equations. This is pretty much the last idea I need to show you before we do your first assessment.
Yeah.
That was on your platform.
It's a performance test.
It's called assessments now.
It is?
That's pointless because we take vocabulary assessments.
I'm sure that's confusing.
That's confusing.
Maybe it's called unit assessments.
That's
Or should I call it? You are.
No, I'm trying to find out where I put it stuff. So I'm trying to be organized and I drop everything.
We actually did.
Are these your glasses?
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm too lazy.
Thank you everybody but like Allison for getting out what you needed to start your notes instead of drawing tic-tac-toe. That's, yeah, we're doing notes.
I need to get a pencil.
Don't worry. Only Ben's the only one to be writing at your table first. Everybody else is looking around. Oh! You don't have to draw it that big, guys. It's only
Just look at mine. It's so bad.
you guys are drawing. Does not need to be this big.
How big?
Drawing a 6-pack. Summer Bucks. That's 19.
Like I gotta get to the beach.
He
Is that what he
went.
says?
No, he wants to go European for the swim unit. He also said we don't have to do planks.
So it needs to be like a little bit small.
No, it needs to be tiny. You literally can make this in three little lines. I'm not adding anything else into it. As long as you write the words add, subtract, multiply, divide, square, and square root. I'm gonna try
That should be your new. That should be your new question.
We need to
And
figure out.
subtract, multiply, divide, squared and square root. Too funny.
All right, let's see if I can make that look better.
Never did it.
Square. It's the square root.
Yes, there we go. That looks better.
Yes.
Okay. To solve for a variable, you have to work backwards. To work backwards, you got to do inverse operations.
I've been trying
Yay! Saving the planet. Die, planet, die.
Can't recycle color paper.
You can? I've been recycling color paper for years.
You ruin the whole batch. You actually do the opposite of recycling, which is wasted time.
I don't get it. Why can't they just take the colored paper out?
Bleach it. Bleach it.
They probably have machines that are smart enough.
Bleach
I don't
it.
know. I just know you are not supposed to recycle colored paper like construction paper. The color in it will ruin. Has anybody else heard that before?
No.
All right, then I'm lying.
I've been
more you
throwing
know.
away.
No,
Don't.
I was talking.
Don't.
The opposite of add, this is how I want you to read this chart. The inverse of add is subtract. And you read it from right to left too. The opposite of subtract is add. That makes sense. The opposite of multiply is divide. The opposite of divide is to multiply. That one can be tricky with fractions. I should put something in the fraction.
Should put like a line, like maybe just like a fraction.
No, not now.
The fraction, maybe I'll put a line at the bottom for fractions. Well, you're gonna have fractions in your example.
Oh, okay.
So, it's something you're learning today regardless. I'm just trying to make it clear. Fractions. I don't know how to say it.
Fractions can.
Yeah, can. Be multiplied
Wow.
by the inverse. I should have waited for that. It's all right. All right. It all depends on what the fraction looks like, but
Why do we write it down?
because this is probably the tough. These are gonna be the toughest examples. It's the last few. All right, are we good?
No.
No. Ooh, I'm gonna be the first one to recycle.
We figured
No, No, no. Ben, come on, Ben, come on.
I threw away a little teeny shred of paper.
Nice. Ben was the first. Ben threw away paper.
I threw away a little teeny shred of paper.
Wait, how did you not have a recycling bin? My glasses are not.
I don't know. They changed it.
Yeah, I think I did it.
Like it used to be anything, then they changed it, then they just like
Oh no, it's supposed to have what you can on it.
Yeah, and unclose the door, you can't go back in. I was at a giant party.
Nice! We need to do that.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, he's great.
You're gonna take back to your favorite
Yeah.
All right, Regan, thank you. Shut the door.
Have a good day.
You too.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. I need my daughter to be like that, a Browns fan.
Wait, what is she?
She's a diehard. She goes to every game. I think her dad has season tickets. All right, some vocab. The first word is variable. It's a letter that takes the place for an unknown value. Usually, variables are lowercase. If they are uppercase, it usually means that they are specifically for an equation. Like capital V would be like volume. Capital F would be like Fahrenheit.
Mom said you were like yell at them.
That would have been fun.
I almost did yesterday. The one guy was out there saying, not using school appropriate language. We'll say that. Coefficient. That is the number in front of a variable. Yes.
He's not that big on his head, like, Hulk upon
Could we burn it? Yeah, it is.
Okay. The coefficient means that you're multiplying that number by the variable. Maybe I should add that to it. It is what the variable is multiplied by. Alright, so an example would be like this. 3x. That's called a term,
You made your notes on this last year.
not specifically this. What is the coefficient of this term? Colin. 3. So I'm gonna draw an arrow. This means this is yes, the 3 is the coefficient. What color is that?
That is, it's just black.
It's kind of like a
No,
maroon.
the 3.
Oh, that's
It's
maroon.
a dark maroon.
That's maroon.
Oh,
It's maroon, yeah.
Gotcha.
Like a dark one, dark maroon.
which means that the x is the variable.
Do we have any more of these examples like that?
I think this might be the end of the definitions.
But I remember doing this last year.
There might have been a one focus area.
I think it was for combining like terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Algebraic expression. It was an algebraic expression.
Yeah.
I like to make expressions 4 times the past. Or no, maybe take them 5 for mid grades.
We good with this?
Yeah.
No.
Alright. We'll wait.
Mr. Brody gets a shirt that says world's fattest vegan.
Roll what?
World's fattest vegan.
Wait, what did it say? Mr. Bruni is like a
Mr. Brody gets a shirt that says
He's like a
world's fattest vegan.
He's hilarious. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, he lives by me.
Mr. Bruni
I know him.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a true story about Mr. Bruni.
Oh,
Uh,
he's having peanut
I was the one time I was like walking to my car, and I got in my car and I look up, and this was last year when I had those bike racks out in front of high school, and well, he rides his bike to school, right? I didn't really know that at the time, but I saw him like at the bike rack, and I'm like, what's this grown man doing trying to steal these bikes? So I was like, I got my phone, I was about to call the police, and I thought he was trying to steal these kids' bikes. And he doesn't look like, you could just tell he's not a high school kid, like, from behind.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a grown man with a beard, you know? And instead of, like, the grown man that, like, brings gifts, he was doing the opposite. It looked like he was taking gifts off the bike rack. And I was like, what a thief. I was, like, gonna follow him. And then I really turned around, I'm like, oh, that's the teacher. And ironically, Mr. Bruning almost called the police on me this year. Because I was getting into my car, and I opened my passenger door, and I dropped my keys to the car. I have the keys where I don't have to. They just have to be in the car, like in my pocket, and it starts.
Yeah.
So like, I dropped them, and I think it bounced off my foot under my car. So then I'm like, I get in my car and I hit the push start, and it wouldn't start. And I'm like, what did I do with my keys? So I'm like. I was like, did I keep my door unlocked all school day? I have no idea. So I walked all the way back up to my room, looked around, couldn't find it, and then I'm like, oh. So then I walk all the way back slowly through the hallway, retracing my steps, can't find my keys. I'm upset. I look out to my car, and there was like 5 teachers around my car. They thought I got kidnapped and dropped my keys. They found my keys under my car, and they thought I got kidnapped. They were like, we're about to call the police. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. All right, let's do some examples. Because sometimes when somebody does get taken, they drop something like, oh, I was here.
Wait,
You know?
what happens when Mr. Christie forgets?
All right, we're gonna solve for the variable which is p here. I'm gonna give you my little tricks that I want you to use for now. Trick number 1: find the equal sign and draw. Some teachers are gonna draw like a T upside down. I just call it a squiggly. But I tell myself what I do on one side of squiggly, I have to do on the other to make it balanced. And when you do 2-step equations, it's going to pay off even better. Any ideas from the class of what I can do to get p by itself? Nick,
Add 7 and 3.
just say the first part. Say add 7.
And 3. And
Just say add 7
add
Two.
7.
to both sides. That's how I want it. Yeah. You add 7 to both sides.
Would it be just positive 7?
I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Does it look balanced? Yes, I did it on both sides. Now you clean it up. Is this going to 0 out or 1 out?
0.
Zero's out, so it's gone. I'm left with 1p equals 3 plus 7 is 10. Okay.
What? Oh, never mind.
Trick
Sorry, I
number
messed
trick
that up.
number 2. If I wanted to check my answer to make sure it's right, what can I do? What can I do? I could plug in 10. Here, I'm gonna do this. I'll do this with magic. I can plug in 10 to p. Negative 7 plus 10. Does negative 7 plus 10 equal 3? Is that what I needed it to equal? Did it check out? Yes. So then I know my answer is right.
Why is it
Easy. No, we put on extra 10. That was very dramatic.
You can always check. Alright, try this one. Example 2. 45 equals 6 plus
Holy
f.
crap.
What? I want to know what is f going to equal. Do not shut out your answers. You can raise your hand. I will come check if you want.
Wait, why would someone want to kidnap you?
Hey, don't hurt my feelings.
Wow.
Because they were having trouble on their mouth.
Yeah, maybe they need some math help.
They're gonna try to kill him.
Or else.
Yeah, Mr. Sear, why did anybody want you? You're a useless piece of garbage. Obviously, this say hello, or what's to start the day with hello is not really meeting the mark right now. I want you to just show your work. Here's the thing though, your way is going to work when these are easy and you can do them in your head. I can make them so you can't do them in your head, and you have to show your work. Trust me. So I want the whole point of today is to practice the steps.
That's correct.
I got it.
I liked every single video.
I want to see F equals, and then I want to see what your answer is.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That is right. That's right. I'll come back. Good.
Wait, I'm writing F equals.
Yay. Somehow I just tested it.
Subtract 6 of those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Good. That's showing work for it.
It also looks like a rock.
Why is it pink?
Why did you get that?
Instead of the 0, right?
Let me spell it.
Oh, okay, this makes a lot of
Found
sense.
snow.
Oh, God. It's like a grapefruit.
I think I did it right.
This is the right work. Now you're going to write your answer on the side of F. Negative 45 minus 6. Negative 45 minus 6 going that way. Alright, last couple I'm checking, that's right. That's right. Ian, you're having a great year so far.
Yay.
I should have had you in the beginning of
Mr. Garcia.
your work is good, but when you have a negative 45 and you go 6, you go more negative. Alright. Okay, two things I want to point out. One, I like that I saw from most of you that you're doing minus 6 on both sides. Now, some of you feel a little weird putting an F on the right side, but can you do it?
Yeah.
Yes. No, you can't. If P equals 10, can't you say that 10 equals P? It means the same thing. Do not be afraid to have a variable on the right side. It has happened before. Equals. Now, we're still messing up on this a little bit. Negative 45 minus 6. You're going more negative. Also, what you end up with? Negative 51. And then that's your answer, negative 51. And if you're not sure, plug your answer in. 6 plus negative 51 is going to equal negative 45. Did it work? You have a lot of examples. You haven't done any multiplying or dividing. So this is subtracting. This should be fast. We could go through this quickly. Just write it down and stop complaining. You're in school to learn. It's like you guys would never have These teachers never teach us. Teachers never teach us. Oh, here I am teaching.
Yeah, I know. You're
When
the only
are you going to stop teaching us? I saw the other kids come in. Can we have a fun day today? No.
Can we have a fun day?
So what is it, Cedar Point? I'm not here to amuse you.
You're not here to what?
Amuse you. I try to while doing my job.
Do you?
Do you really?
Yes,
I've
he
had a
does.
couple
He's a
laughs.
good teacher.
Alright, raise your hand if you can answer. I want to see K equals something. Whatever
now we're
technology
doing
you know. Yeah, you're doing this now. This should not take. This one's easier than the last one.
Okay.
Obviously, mine.
K minus 22. Oh, wow.
Plus 20. Got it.
I think I know what it is.
Good.
No. Wait.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's good.
This one's.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah!
Got it wrong.
Minus
Like,
No, it's not.
Right? The opposite of minus is plus 22. You have minus 22. Alright. Hey, listen for 5 or 6. You get that. Good.
K minus 20.
And you hear that people making mistakes? That's why we're doing examples. We're not just doing one and done.
Oh, thank you. That helps.
I don't know why they do summit. Summit's
Good.
stupid.
Good.
You know, this is going back to the internet.
I know, but it's basically, oh wow.
Everyone
Everyone's summit is.
Summon is easy.
Quiet. Be quiet.
Just for see like.
Can I do this problem over the board?
Opposite of minus 22 is plus.
Can I do this? Can I do this on the board?
You have minus 22.
Please, can I write this down?
No.
I do it.
Because I'm not getting it. No one is. Alright. So, one advice was the squiggly. We need to get K by itself. Nick, what is the opposite of minus 22?
Plus 26.
In 20, 22? I thought that's what you said.
Sorry.
Alright. Why is that going to work? Real quick. Let me come back to this. If I saw people put minus 22 on both sides. Watch why this doesn't work. If you did this, you'd end up with K minus 44 equals negative. And what is 101 minus 22 going to be?
79.
79.
Next I did it.
79.
Negative 79. Okay. Did you get K by itself? No. In fact, you just changed the problem completely. You didn't solve for K. You just changed it. So let's go back to where I was at. Plus 22, because that's going to zero out. I'll actually draw the zero. What are you left with? Left with K equals 123. We'll do this one together. 3C equals 96. This is not 3 plus C. So write it down and then we'll look up here.
Squiggly.
We're going to do a squiggly because I said you can do it on equal sign all the time.
We have to do this.
For right now, yeah. Here, this is how I think Mr. Zinnick does a T. He does something like this.
Oh, I
don't
know.
like that. That's weird. Now let's.
Click it upside down.
It works though. It's like, oh, are you doing the same on both sides? All right. What type of math is happening between 3 and C?
Multiplication.
Jackson, multiplication. Good. Jackson, what do you think I can do to undo multiply by 3? Divide by 3. Not negative 3. You divide by positive 3 on both sides. Alright. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. Think about it. It's 1C. What if you want to write it like that? Can you? Yes. But you might be the only human being on Earth doing that.
Looks
Because
like an
if
owl.
it's 1C, they usually just take the 1 for granted. So 1C equals, this is going to be 32. Somebody tell me, what does this,
Wait, that one was easy.
yeah, that's all it was. What does this mean? If that means 1C, what does this mean? The red one. It's not 2C.
Negative 1.
Negative 1E. This is negative 1E.
Somehow.
Or sometimes it's easier to think about it as the opposite of E. Alright, let's move on. Alright. I'm gonna show you how to do this one also. It's great.
Wow. I have good
You
handwriting.
do too. They're different. His is really tiny and compressed. Yours is really like exotic looking and large.
What's
Does that
exotic?
mean mine here?
His has a lot of like
Stuff.
curves. I don't know.
Wait, no.
Wait,
but
does
it's
that mean
better than
mine's
yours.
neat?
Like My
like-
handwriting's better than yours.
Like, just look at your cue. You like fancy it up.
No, I accidentally messed that up.
Oh, I thought that was.
No, my
Oh,
writing
okay.
feel like this.
You should make your cues always look like that.
Except mine's neat.
Oh, you want me to check it?
I didn't mean to do that.
I didn't even do it yet.
Yes, that happens to me. I go like down and then go
Something
down.
divided by a car.
Honestly, this, I won't get probably the exact right because I don't even use the wrong answer.
I'll just check yours and maybe Alex's because that's what everybody else. That's right. Actually.
Is it? I think I
Wait,
know.
what?
Are we doing it together?
Yeah, I was gonna do it together. That's gonna be great. Let's see how much doesn't work for it.
Wait. I don't know if this is. No, this is not a two.
Alright. Alright, pay attention to this. What type of operation are we doing at this bar? Alex? No.
Oh, that's division.
Yeah. Don't answer. You're moving faster than I want to. This means to divide by 5, right? The inverse of divide by 5 now, Alex, is so you kind of should watch how I do this. When I times by 5, I purposely put my 5 at a higher level. And then when I do on one side, I do it on the other, times by 5. Why am I doing that? Because how do you write 5 as a fraction? 5 over 1 times, and this is 1c over 5. Now if you look at it, isn't this the same? Can I like kind of just move this over and consider that like 5 over 5 and it'll 1 out, right? Alright, so I'm going, instead of drawing the 1 up and down, I'm going to draw the 1 like slashed. It 1's out. What are you left with? You're left with c equals, is it 175?
Yeah.
Yes, 175. That's how you should work on it.
Another way.
Try this one here.
It's just I suck.
How many more do we have?
I think you have this, and then I have one or two more on the next slide, and then you're done.
No, because I don't have enough. I have to go on to the next.
Go on the next page.
See, mine's all small and I can fit everything. How much space do you have?
Wow.
The only thing that stinks is when I'm recording this class, is I can't check my email because I was like, oh, I can freeze it, check my email, but what if it's like email that dots for everybody's eyes? Oh, I'm in trouble. You gotta be careful. Tricky. All right, this one.
I just
Sounds like the old-fashioned.
What? Oh, and how did I get it wrong?
I'm having a realization.
I'm not getting this. Because
All right, I'm gonna.
17.
All right, let's go over this. Just like kind of like what we did with your whiteboards. Like, is x gonna be positive or negative? A negative times a blank is gonna be positive. What does this number have to be? Just knowing. That.
To be positive or to be negative?
Yeah, which one?
It's gonna be negative.
It's gonna be a negative. Because a negative times a negative is positive. So now I know my answer is gonna be a negative number. All right.
yeah, I know.
What? What is the inverse of times by negative 17? I haven't had an example like this yet. Rebecca? divide by negative, and this is why this works mathematically. When you divide by negative 17 on both sides, watch this. A negative divided by negative equals a positive 1x, and a positive divided by negative equals a negative 5.
Oh, not.
Do you see how it was negative
Not
divided
confused the way I did it.
Oh.
I just did mine.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Alright, let's copy this down, and then we're gonna take a second before we solve it. Don't solve it. Just write it down and then pay attention.
What? Oh.
2/5 of this number is
Wait,
gonna equal 28.
So,
Wait, don't solve it.
No, don't solve it. This was a horrible. Look how grimy these look after like 2 weeks.
Can you like
who used those though?
I didn't
What?
touch
Just
I
don't
don't
let
even know if I
anyone
can
use
clean them.
I wish it.
I know.
it. You know what you could do is you could charge people to use them, like 20 cents swipe.
Yeah, that'd be sweet to get fired over 20 cents. Mr. Garcia is making me buy new erasers, and he's also charging me running the eraser.
Remember the PBS?
What do these teachers make around here? They're nickel and a dime and a literally. Alright,
That'll be 15.
alright, let's look at this. If I said like I don't know, let's say 2/8 of some number times some number.
That'll be 20. It's gonna be
Let's say I want this to equal 1. What number can I put in that box to make that equation come true? There's 5. Even though I respect it, I want everybody thinking about it because this is something that I know I struggled with when I was learning. I always forgot. Like, what number can I multiply to equal 1? Ben Porter, what do you think? Let's see, let's try. What happens when I do 2/8 times 4? 4 is a fraction, it's 4 over 1. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8.
Thank God we didn't try.
You got it right. I didn't like how you said it though.
I would say 4.
Do you know, it is 4, but it's also going to be, Allison? Yeah, it's also going to be 8 over 2. Isn't 8 over 2 the same thing as 4? Yeah. Because 2 times 8 is 16, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 over 16 is 1. So that's what it is, the reciprocal. Well, let's go back to this example. We want 1x. How am I going to get rid of 2/5 on one side? Ben?
Wouldn't it be 5 over 2?
We're going to multiply both sides by times 5 over 2 on this side times 5 over 2 on this side. What happens is, what is this going to equal right here?
Right.
5 over 2 times 2 over 5. Is it going to equal 10 over 10?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing as 1? Yeah, so you're going to be left with, alright, you're going to be left with 1x equals, well, 20 times 5 is 100.
Divided by 2.
100 over 2 is going to equal
50. X equals 50.
x equals 50.
Knowledge.
Next. I'm going to not do this one. I'm going to keep it like that, and I'm going to pass out your homework so you can start it. You have 5 minutes to start it, which is a lot of
I
time.
love homework. I don't like homework.
I love homework. Homework's the devil.
Homework is not the devil.
Homework's the devil.
Homework.
Stir it back.
Can we not move around? Alright, what I've noticed happens is when people move around when I pass stuff out, messing out, and that frustrates me.
Yeah, Alex.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Turn it back into the tray, and I'll regrade it.
I'm so mad because you gave me a non-G because it was a simple mistake that I made.
I got a G
I
and
didn't
you
go in.
did it?
That's
the worst.
These ones, the second ones, you just want me to show you how I got them.
Yeah, it is first.
No, I see you did it over here. It says write an expression, so I wanted you to actually write the expression so I can see it, like you did up here. And this one down here, 6 hours, negative. So, is it positive or negative 2? How much does it change in each hour?
Negative 2.
So it'd be negative 2, and to show that, if you think about it, the expression would be 58 minus 70
Yeah.
would be negative 12 divided by 6 is going to equal negative 2. So you're good. I'm going to G it up for you. Yeah, you're fine.
I just forgot there with the expressions.
Yeah, no, you're good.
You're like you.
Who are we missing?
Oh, I had to ask Mr. Garcia, you should be proud of me. Ben didn't get a G. That's sad for him. But I got a G, and that's never happened before. First try.
Good job.
Thanks.